Hi, this is Ivey, the fulfillment artist, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to control your anger and frustration. Before I start, whilst doing this video I did the whole thing and then I forgot to click record, right? And you can imagine that would have made me angry and frustrated, right? So let me explain why we get angry and frustrated. Because for our expectations for something isn't met, right? I was expecting to film it and then it wasn't there and I was like, oh, you're good. So our expectations aren't met. So let me give you a story, and this just perfectly explains everything that goes on. So I've joined this sort of Tony Robbins course, and they've sent me a bunch of CDs. Okay, like I'm talking about like maybe I think 20 different CDs, or like 22 different CDs. So they arrive in this box, and I'm like, okay, well now I've got to upload all these CDs. Great. So I got to open my laptop, and then I realized, oh my god, my CD player's broken. Right. Okay. So what do I do now? Okay, you know what I'll do? I will use someone else's laptop. So I get my mum's laptop, I sort it out, and I'm like, she doesn't have a freaking CD player, right? So I can't use that. And I'm like, oh, this is driving me insane. So I'm like, okay, there must be something else. So then I'm like, okay. So I go on a desktop, right? So I've got the desktop, I've got my CDs, I start putting them in, right? I upload them, I put them up, and I'm like, okay, how do I get them from this computer? Why don't I use, let's say, Google Drive or something? So I start to use Google Drive, and then as I'm moving that forward, I then realize, oh, it's changed the freaking files, right? What I want to do is listen to these audios. I put them on a Windows thing. It's changed the files, and it's just taking so long, and I just can't do it. Right. I then go to a different. I'm like, I get my brother. I'm like, yo, bro, is there any way I can borrow your laptop at some point? He's like, yeah, sure. So I go to his laptop, put the CDs in. I put everything in, I upload it. I'm like, okay, cool. I download Dropbox, I log into Dropbox, I put everything in, I get it. I get the files on my computer, they're there. They've only switched form again. Right, and now I'm like, oh, I've spent like 2 hours on this. And all I want to do is listen to these freaking CDs. So I put them in, I get there, and I'm like, oh. And now I've got to download some sort of software. I download the software, it doesn't work, and it's just driving me insane. And I'm like, okay, now I'm getting really angry. I'm getting really frustrated. Like now I'm like pissed. Okay, this is really starting to bug me. So I'm like, no. You know when you get to a stage where you're like, no, I've decided I am doing this. So I was like, no, I've had enough. I'm doing this. And I realized there was no hope. I couldn't do it, and I was like, crap. And then I did some of these techniques that I'll show you when I caught myself. But from there, right, the things that it was, I go on Amazon, I get a CD player, it arrives, I put the CD player in, it uploads CD 1, and I'm like, oh, yes. I put in CD 2, everything's going so well. And then CD 3 arrives. I put in CD 3. And then this thing just ejects the CD. It's just like, no, I'm sorry, babe. And I'm like, okay, I see how this is. So I put the CD again, I close it, same thing happens. So then I check, I do the next CD, and the same thing happens. I do CD 5. CD 5 starts spinning. And I'm like, okay, I see it. I try and upload it. And then what happens is only parts of it upload. And then my whole computer just freezes. And I have to restart, and I'm like, okay. So I spent about 3 weeks trying to upload CDs, and I like upload part of one, part of another. I upload CD 5 and then CD 7, right? And I get a whole new one, and anyway, the long story short, right? I was feeling very annoyed and angry along the way. But there are these different things that I did to sort of help me move through it. And I want to share this because it's really important that you control your anger and frustration. Because the truth is things are going to piss us off in life, right? Because we're so used to things working so quickly now, when they don't work like that, it annoys us, right? So Wi-Fi, right? You expect the Wi-Fi to work, and then you're getting lag and it's not working, and then it just frustrates you because you expect it to work, right? So what are some of the things that you can do to really start to control your anger and frustration? Well, the first thing is you've got to have awareness. Right? Awareness is the first thing. Because if you're not aware, then how are you meant to stop it? So you need to be, okay, now I'm feeling pissed. Right? I'll be aware of it. Right? Say it, whatever you want to do. Just be aware that you're annoyed and you're angry. And then the next thing is really important. Right? And that is to interrupt the pattern. right? Because when you're angry, you do certain things with your body and your voice and the way you react, and you clench and you do these things, right? People get angry in different ways, but generally speaking, clench, annoyed, and angry, right? So there are different things that you can do to be able to do this. So what are some of the examples? So the most important one would be to change what you're doing. So this, you're focusing on this, focusing on this. Do a radical change, okay? So one thing I used to do is I used to lie on the floor, right? Just take some deep breaths. Just lie on the floor like that, right? Facing up. And I was like, and I would just lie there for a bit and cool off, right? That's a great way to interrupt the pattern. Next, do something active. So what I mean by this, like, you feel yourself getting angry, go for a run, go for a swim, go to the gym. Sometimes if I haven't been to the gym in a while, I get more irritable, right? So you just got to understand your own patterns and see what works for you, right? So maybe it's going for a run, and you run, and then you get and then you're fine, right? Or whatever it is that you need to do. And I'm very well aware that some of these work in different circumstances. What I'm not saying is, let's say you're angry at work, for you to just lie on the floor. I'm not saying that whatsoever, right? I'm going to give you a bunch of different strategies, and you can choose whichever ones work in different situations. So next, I mentioned this before, but breathing. So breathing is really important. Like when you are stressed, when you're pissed, when you're frustrated, your breathing tends to be like, you don't really breathe very much. You sort of, I'm feeling really angry, right? So if you take, and the breathing will completely change your state, and it will change how you feel. So breathing is another great one. Next, quality questions, right? So what do I mean by this? I've mentioned it a couple of times before, but let me give you an example of the story that I told, right? So when I'm really pissed, I'm like, why isn't this working? Probably not the best question to ask, right? Because it's computer shit, because Tony Robbins sucks, because like, you just say all these different things, and then you're like, why can't computers just be easier? Why can't the Wi-Fi just work, right? They're not the best questions to ask at this point. A better question could be, okay, how can I do this in an easier way, right? What would, if I had to do this in 5 minutes, what would be the easiest way to do this, right? Do I have to do this right now? Is there anything else I could be doing? Could I do this later, right? So using and posing some of these questions is much better. So quality questions is a big one. Next is gratitude, right? Gratitude's a great one. Let's say you're feeling really angry, there's expectations. Be grateful. Let's say the Wi-Fi isn't working. Say, okay, Wi-Fi's not working. At least my laptop's not broken. At least I still have time to connect with them. And just think of other things that you're grateful for. Like, they can be small things, and this is a nice way just to quickly shift your mind, right? So gratitude is always a great one to go back to. I mean, if you're not, I talk about gratitude all the bloody time, right? If you're not thinking about things daily that you're grateful for, and you're watching all these videos, right, you need to stop and start doing that. That's just please for yourself. Next is humor, right? I use humor all the time now. Honestly, humor is one of the best ways to interrupt everything, right? If you can look at the funny side of things, so you're angry and be like, this is actually pretty funny. I mean, like, only I would have to go on 4 different computers, do 4 different things for hours, right? This is ridiculous, right? You can talk about this, right? And if you can see a humorous side to it, I promise you, it will just make life so much easier, right? And let's see, people are getting angry, frustrated. Use humor. It's just so much, it just adds such more juice to life. Right? An example, I was chatting with some friends the other day. We talked about unconditional love. Everyone was getting angry, they're getting annoyed. They're like, Ben, what do you think? And I was like, we just need to talk about not unconditional love. Because I know that people have associations with unconditional love and people are getting pissed, right? Instead, let's use a word like chaka waka waka. Right? So they end up having a conversation, we're talking about chaka waka waka for a bit. Right? And this is just hilarious. Because then it just adds so much more spontaneity and more fun, and you can talk of things where you aren't angry and annoyed and frustrated. So it's these small little humorous things that really make a difference. Another thing you can do is say a phrase, right? I'll give you my phrase. My phrase is, if I can't control it, I'm letting it go. Okay, and this is a great one to use. Let's say the Wi-Fi is not working. If I can't control it, I'm letting it go. Right? Let's say the CDs, right? I can't control whether the CDs or whether they flip files, right? If I can't control it, I'm letting it go. Right? And it's sort of these mantras, these phrases you can say to yourself that really, really help. Okay, so There's a bunch of ways to interrupt the patterns, right? Loads of different ways. Find out whatever ways work for you, and the last thing to do is condition it, right? You've got to condition it, because if you can start to condition this and do this time and time and time again, you'll be able to control everything. And I don't mean suppress, right? And I want you to get this difference. If you're feeling really angry, don't deny and be like, I'm not angry, I'm not angry, I'm not angry. I can see you're angry. I'm not angry, I'm not angry. Because you're just suppressing emotion, be like, no, I'm angry. Okay, I'm feeling very pissed, right? And then you can let it go. But allow yourself to feel it, don't suppress the emotion, right? And with that, I hope that you control all aspects of your frustration and anger. I hope that you comment with some funny stories or any ways that you've interrupted the pattern. I love hearing stories. And with that, I hope you live an absolutely phenomenal life, and I will speak to you very soon.